We're going to talk about the method and what is the purpose of the method and why we should break down a big program instead of on a single method to many small modules that they can communicate to each other. Let's go back to chapter 2 and refresh our mind about the what is a method and what is the main method. If you remember, we said any program that we're creating in Java, first it has to start with the class, and that class can have one or more than one method. So far we use only the main method. This is a program that's using two methods. One method is right here, public void main method right here, and right here is another method which we call it test and tells, which is again another tiny method right here in this example that will be called inside the main method. So if we have a large program and we would like to modularize that big program, so we have to generate many different methods, and those methods can be called randomly or based on the purpose of that program. We can call those methods. Let me show you an example in a large program. Here is an example of a large program. In this program that I developed by the J developer, you're going to see the total line of code is 7,214 line of code, and it is a super large program that containing a lot of information. Now, each of these in this program we have many modules. If you're going to see right here, this is a tiny module, and you display what is the content inside that module. This is another module right here, and if I'm going right here, you're going to show me the content inside that module. So a large program, really we cannot have putting everything in the main. We cannot put up everything in the main method. We have to modularize that one and abstract that one in the format, creating many tiny module, which each of those modules they do any specific task. Let's go ahead with this example, see what you're going to do in this example. In this example, I have a public class and display the first x, which is display the 10. But as soon as it display the 10, you find out that it has to call a method, another method, test. What is the test? Test is follow up in the same scope, in the scope of the classes, this class scope, and it is available right here. So you call the test and put to the x20, and second display the value of the second is equal to 20. The method that we have, we could have two type of method. One type of method we call it void method, and is the method that does not return any value, like this example right here. I'm going calling the test without no argument. You're going to call this test and display the value of the x right here. We have other type of method, and this type of method they're going to return a value. Look at right here. This time, because I would like to put the value first, and but this x value, which is 10, I'll ask him to grab the 10 right here and call it the test. And test is supposed to return to me an integer number, but incoming value is x, this x right here, and you go grab this x, which we need a formal parameter, actual parameter. We're going to talk about those much more detail later. And you're going to take this 20 plus the y, which is just getting in, which is result to 30, and display the value of the 30, that the first is equal to 30 right here, display right here. So we have calling method and we have void method. Void method is one type which is return integer, double, string, or whatever. This is another type of method. As I mentioned, methods are commonly used to break down into a small manageable piece a big program, like the example that I showed to you. So as we said, we have two type of method. One of them is void, which does not return any value, like this example does not return any value. One of them is a method that is going returning a value, which is this example right here. We're going to set a value and we pass it in, and you're going to return a value of the same type. Here is another simple example. that we have a main method, and inside the main method we're calling a display message. Display message is another method within the same scope of the class call method, and all you're going to do, you're going to display hello. As you're going to see, the output is displayed right here. Here is the output. As we're going to execute this one, you're going to get to the main method. Inside the main method, you're going to find out that it has to call the display message method. You call the display message method, and as a result of that one, display this value, display hello. As I show it to you, a method consists of a header, and a method also consists of the body. This is a method right here. This is a method right here. This is the header part of the method, and this is the body part of a method. Here is another view form of a method. We have the method header right here, and we have the body part of the method, which is display out the result. As you see, the method header consists of the public, which is method, and it is public static. The return type is void. The method name is display message, and the parentheses that should follow up by a method. Right here in this parentheses we can put all the passing argument, and here is the body part of the method. So let's look at the part of the method. In method modifiers, there are words such as reserved word, public and static. Method publicly available to code outside the class, so you can call it from outside. If you remember, we had a such as system.out.println. That println can be accessed outside of the method, or that system out.println or print. Sometimes is static, and static method belong to a class, not any specific object. In a method, as we said, we have a return value, we have a method name. Be sure to name your method a proper name so it makes sense when you try to call that method. It means, for example, it's suppose display message, we're going to call display message method. We're not going to call it XYZ method. Okay? Documenting method is very important. If we do not document a method, if we back to that method, after a while we not be able to understand what this method is supposed to do. So it is highly recommended that we always have to document whatever type of code we develop.